Let's do it, baby. Thursday on the show floor. You're gonna see here that some people are gonna head home on Thursday. They come for the first couple days, so it's a little quieter. Not quiet, but a little quieter. But Thursday and Friday is when legends are made. Let's hit the floor and figure out what we're doing today.
Firearms Legal Protection is who I trust to help me after a use of force incident. If you're a Firearms Legal Protection member, you can attend our monthly active self-protection training seminars for free. Check out all they offer to their members at the link below.
Make some shorts today.
It's sad that they have some time.
Yo. Hey man, we're not gonna touch no handrails because why? Boogers, buttholes, and balls.
He knows, he even knew.
Stephanie Widener, our boss, the CEO, Carrie Dudenhofer, the director of our instructor program, Thomas Yoxel, our cameraman extraordinaire. Man, we're excited to get this on camera, dude.
Tried it out briefly yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll put you through different things. Try
Yeah, for sure.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Active Self-Protection Extra. It's Neil here at SHOT Show 2024.
And you're in.
I've got Steph here.
crazy.
We're at the ACE booth playing with the new VR kind of dry fire system. Erin's running stuff. This is literally her first time seeing this. What are you seeing, Steph?
Well, I am on a beautiful range with a huge array of targets. Can they see what I'm seeing on the TV right now?
yet. Yeah,
Not
they
yet.
can.
The camera's not on there.
The camera's not on
but
yet.
we'll get that.
So
here in
we've
just
got robotic targets, we've got interactive, reactive targets, we've got Texas stars, we've got bottles if we want to shoot them, clays, anything you could possibly want, and it is really cool.
All right, so shoot a couple.
All right, let's see. So I got my gun here. Here's
So
my
Steph's
gun.
getting a dry run here before we do some competition stuff.
And I can see that your left eye dominant.
Yes, you can see that through there?
Yep. Nice. You made a donut out of that clay.
So what Steph's doing right now is they've basically got this range all set up. I see like 2-liter bottles, poppers, pumpkins, Texas Star,
All right,
plate
now
racks, all
we're
that kind
moving.
of stuff. And she's just having fun right now. So this is going to be kind of cool here. We'll probably do a
struggle to
competition
get me
here before
to
we're done.
stop.
So this is the gun. Your controller sits in that, and then it hooks up to your Oculus system. If you've already got an Oculus system, this is the gun. One of the cool things about it, the trigger on this, I got to play with this just a little bit yesterday, but the trigger on this feels like a legit trigger. It's resetting, so you can see that thing resets, and it feels like this feels a lot like the trigger on my VP9. So this is actually pretty cool. I got to spend a little bit of time in it last night. As the show was closing, we didn't have time to make videos, so we came back this morning.
Do I have to stop at some point?
Yes, you have to stop
Okay,
at some
sorry,
point. We
sorry.
should probably.
This
like
is
that?
amazing. I love it. This is amazing.
So Erin, so we've talked a little bit about here. So we can have 2 shooters in this at the same time.
That's correct, yeah.
So we can actually do competition together at the same time if we want.
I mean, the other person would need their own system.
Right.
But they could be, I mean, for example, Noah over there in Iowa and I was in London, UK, and we were competing, doing head-to-head from our own living rooms.
Wow.
In real time. We saw
So you
like a
can compete with your
cartoony-
friends, but you don't have to necessarily be in the same room.
Absolutely.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
And I mean, you see a cartoony representation of each other. You know, have different colored like ear pros, eye pros, different t-shirts, hats.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, well, let's set up the competition here and have Steph and I, we can just do the regular competition. We don't have to be in there at the same time. We'll just let her run I think one of the things is she turns to the right and it turns on the competition.
Yeah.
You want to do that, Steph? So I think
Sure.
you look to your right, Steph, and you shoot that sign.
Got it. When ready, shoot this to proceed to the competition.
Yeah. Tom?
It goes back and forth. Especially if you can get it.
The movement almost. The problem is if you miss one shot.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah, I missed one and then I don't
You
follow.
got me at 63.
What was your stuff?
61 was my high.
Stand by.
Oh, this might really smoke me. You're gonna get me bad this time.
Stop there.
Missed the blue one once.
Oh, you beat me
73.
bad that time. Good job.
Ooh. All right. All right, so that is super fun.
That was so much fun. It
Yeah.
was really
Here, I'm going to
realistic.
show this to the camera
yeah,
a second.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so again, the gun, the trigger feels like an actual real
Yeah.
trigger. The only thing you really aren't getting is recoil in this,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
So we're not getting any recoil, but we're getting all the rest of this. Under the hood, when we've got this set on right here, you get to set your dot. You've got a few different dots that you can choose from on
That's
there.
right.
I don't even know which one
Well,
we have.
currently, this event we partner with Shield Sight, so
Okay.
we're showcasing 3 of their optics.
So are you getting like an SRO at some point, a real dot?
There are optics very much like those, but
Yeah, I saw. So we're just joking around, man. This is kind of a cool thing. So right now we're ordering this online. If we're ordering this, and then there's some sort of is this like a subscription kind of thing, or how do we do that?
Yeah, so for 228, you get the gun essentially and full access to our software.
Okay.
What you've tried today is essentially a basic version of the application, but the full app has multiplayer. We have 60 plus stages. We have an update every 2 weeks. We also have
A leaderboard or something as it updates?
Absolutely, we have a live
cool.
leaderboard, which is currently populated by a lot of USPS agents.
So who's on top of the leaderboard right now?
Herron.
Tim
Tim Herron.
Herron.
Shocker. This is Tim's who I heard about this from,
I
and I've been
see.
really excited to get here to see this.
Yeah.
So for me, we have an Oculus at home and stuff, and I use them from time to time. Some of
older
the
stuff.
games, based on the different kinds of movement, will actually make me sick.
Right.
So that's why I hadn't ordered one yet, just simply because I'm going to come put my hands on this thing. I had none of the challenges I have with some of the different games. I will have one of these at my house soon, and you should too. We'll probably. I feel like this feels like an Ask Dry Fire challenge at some point that we're going to have some competitions along that line too. This is super cool, folks. You've got to check this out.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You know, it's fun, man, and interesting thing about SHOT Show, I'd say at least 50% of the people here are not actually in the industry. Their friends are FFLs or whatever, and they're hanging out and having fun and getting swag. No problems in the universe for me for that. But the people who are doing business here, there's great business to be done, and you can really get some stuff done if you meet the right people, and I think we are. Seriously, my crossover nerd streak here is the tactical lever action. I love to hunt, and a lever action gun it just feels like home to me. You know, I've hunted a ton of deer, elk too, with lever guns, and one with a nice Picatinny rail on the top so that I can, put an optic on it. This is pretty cool. We're here in the Stag Arms booth. I don't have a relationship with Stag, but a casual one, but I'm saying they don't send me guns or money or anything. Like this, man. This is a nice, a nice lever action gun with a good trigger. Just something about it, man. And so I was talking with one of their reps. He didn't want to be on camera. He said these are going to be out, but not till next year. So they have this one here, which is kind of, set up as obviously more of a hunting gun, but they also, if you're going to go full crazy tactical, why not? In reality, a lever gun was the assault rifle of the Old West, right? Because it's the first time that I have a repeating firearm that I can load quickly. We had break actions before that, or a Dutch doorknob, a bolt gun. Okay, fine. But this guy here, I put a whole bunch. I put 7 or 8 in the tube and go to work, and that's old school. And in a place where I'm not saying I would necessarily do the skeletonized stock, and this has got M-lock on it, and so you can hang a light on this and an optic. If I lived in a state, they're threaded barrels too, so you can can it. If I lived in a state where the AR was illegal, California, something like that, Hawaii, I wouldn't feel undergunned with this. They said they're going to launch it, both of them in 30-30 and 45-70. Which 45-70 is like advanced artillery, right? That's like an ancient cartridge that is black powder that got converted to smokeless. 30-30 is iconic and classic. And eventually, I think this guy's gonna be in 44 Magnum and 357, and this guy in 357, which, again, classic cowboy, right? Your sidearm is in the same caliber as your long gun. But if I was in a place where I couldn't have an AR pattern rifle, I wouldn't mind something like this. Pretty cool. What's up, everybody? Here at the show, the best part of the show, there's cool products, and that's what SHOT Show's about, but there's cool people. And you guys have seen Mike Doyle here on the channel before. He is the co-host of Tactical Tangents, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And I want to talk to Mike a little bit about what the heart is there of Tactical Tangents and invite you to listen in on what they do. So how many years you been doing Tactical Tangents?
We started in 2017, so this is our 6th, 7th year.
7th year, man. That you're old.
Yeah,
I just want you to know that.
turns out, yeah, that checks.
So tell us what was the genesis? What made you decide I need to start a podcast?
So Ferguson happened, and
Yeah.
then after Ferguson, hi Neil. After Ferguson happened, the climate of law enforcement training shifted quite a bit.
Well, yeah.
And agencies were really out to protect themselves, protect the organization, which is reasonable and makes a lot of sense.
You got to protect the organization, but when your mission becomes, let's watch out for liability.
Stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and so what you saw was a lot of micromanaging, a lot of checkbox training, and cops are already limited on training time, right? Limited on hours, limited on all of that. And so what I saw was a lot of shift of we were taking all the limited training hours that we had and wasting it on PowerPoint presentations that didn't really get us a lot, right? We weren't giving insight.
They got the bean counters and the lawyers what they wanted.
Sure, well, they could say, well, we've addressed this, right? But the problem is, when you talk about addressing some of those things, right, I can't teach, we use de-escalation, right? A lot of that is communication skills and things, but it's also, there's a confidence and proficiency component to that of, like, do I feel like I have to use force right now, or can I keep my cool and try to mitigate that?
If I am a real badass and I know if you and I get in, now I'm not saying him, he'd kick my butt, but like if I know if we get in a fist fight, I can kick your ass, well then I can choose, hey man, it's cool, let's be cool.
Or if a guy's standing over there with a knife and I know, like, all right, we're at about 12 yards, I've got this, I've got that, like, we're good. Like,
we're good.
I got this in the bag, right? Like, I know, like, we have time to talk, we have time to communicate.
Yes.
And you don't learn that in a PowerPoint, right? Because there's a self-preservation component, right? You learn that in practice. You learn that with skills and proficiency and in doing it, right? And making those decisions.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Always a fun time here. I have a treat for you today. It is going to take, for some of you, a little bit of emotional maturity to sit and think about talking with people who agree with you on important issues and then disagree with you about other important issues. But I'm here today with Laura and Mark from the Liberal Gun Club. And we're going to talk a little bit about Second Amendment rights for folks who are not Republicans. Now, mea culpa. I don't consider myself to be a liberal. I am like your wackadoodle buddy who is a lowercase L libertarian. And I try to be thoroughgoing about that, and so I make everybody mad. But here's the thing. These folks are friends of mine. Why? We believe in the Second Amendment together. We have important ideas that we agree on, but not everything, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And how is it being card-carrying liberals here at SHOT Show?
Interesting, most of the time. Our joke is that we have unicorn patches and unicorn stickers because we're the unicorns.
Because you're kind of unicorns.
And that's actually where that came from, was that so many people would come up to us and say, oh, but you're a unicorn. Sure, okay, we're unicorns. Mostly, they've had a couple of years to get used to the idea now.
Okay.
So it's a little better, but yeah, it can be a little challenging.
And to add on to that, it's working.
Yeah.
We do exist, giant banner last year at a booth. We don't have a booth this year, but I walk around with my patch on, and everyone's like, hey, I know you. I remember you from last year.
Nice.
So cool that you guys are still here.
Now, Californians, right? And so I saw last year's video that we did. We had a great time. I thought it was a great discussion. And folks were like, well, wait a minute, because I get it. Politics is super divisive in America today, and I feel like there's very little common ground. I remember I watched a primary debate between George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan I think it was in 1979 or something for the Republican nomination. And they're sitting at a table talking. Well, I understand why you feel that way. And they get it done. They shake each other's hands. They take pictures together. I'm like, dude, that would never be today. You watch the debates today, they're practically fist fighting. And you're like, why do you think that divide is so divisive today?
I think it's a couple of things. I think that the extremes are running the politics in a lot of ways. But honestly, I feel like that that pendulum is swinging a little harder on the right than the left. I feel like as the left is actually moving back towards the center, I think the whole pendulum's moving right a little bit, and so we're getting some extreme there, but we're also getting, the media is picking up some of the extremes. I mean, like if you talk about Kevin Dixon and I were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement this morning at breakfast, and we were talking about how people actually like the idea of defund the police of, wait, the police should be in public protection, they shouldn't be social workers.
Right.
Like, people love that idea, but they don't like the idea of getting rid of police departments.
Yes.
And so
there's a caricature.
Right, the marketing was so bad, right? Like part of it is the marketing, part of it is the let's figure it out, part of it is social media and kind of the nature of how that functions. But I also think a lot of it is sitting in rooms, right? Like, you probably don't sit in rooms with a ton of liberals a lot in the gun world. I mean,
Right.
I know you enough. But John, like, think about the conversations you and I have on the phone, right? Like, John and I have these calls where I will call John and say, I just read this thing. Is that actually what this means? And John will be like, no, like, that's not what this is talking about. Or he'll call me up and he'll be like, is there really a politician on the left doing this thing? No, that's not what that means, right? Non-gun related. I don't think people have those conversations as much anymore. They just kind of buy what their social media is telling
And
them.
I kind of think like, good, if I can make somebody's show and it's just as simple as standing there and talking and saying right things, why would I not do that? I'm standing here with my arms crossed and people think that I'm like mad or something. I'm not mad. I just don't want other people's boogers and buttholes and balls on my hands.
You don't want elbow herpes, John.
I do not want shot elbow AIDS. Carrie does, but I don't. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm here with John, and you notice I'm wearing this little interesting design thing, the Q collar. Neil introduced me to this. He's like, dude, you gotta come and check this out. I wanna talk to John about what the heck this thing does. This is not just fashion.
No, not at all. In fact, oftentimes it's hard to find somebody to wear something for more than just fashion, so it'd be nice if it's a little bit extra help. So what it is a device to go ahead and help your brain. So what we realize is we've got eye pro, right? We've got ear pro.
Yep.
We've got a helmet, and we try to pretend that's brain pro, but the truth is it's not.
No.
Right? It is protecting us from fractures and lacerations of our skull, which is great. It's super important, right? However, what actually protects the brain inside the skull there when we're looking at repetitive subconcussive hits? And the problem is, we found nothing, right? In all honesty. So then the question is, well, how do we figure out how to fix this? So we looked in nature. Luckily enough, nature brings us kind of all kinds of options. We looked at the bighorn rams and how they headbutt all the time, right? We just talked about some people who have some repetitive concussions and maybe wear different helmets, right?
Yeah, so
like,
I mean,
these guys?
Neil put this one in here, and of course, if you were wearing this helmet, that means that you've taken a lot of brain damage if you're willing to. But obviously football players,
So maybe I should wear that helmet. But either way, so what we found is they can do that and they don't have that problem. We said, well, why? What we realized is there's a muscle that they have that in their neck, when they tense up and go to hit, it puts a little bit of extra pressure right there on their internal jugular vein.
Okay.
Right? No big deal. It's enough to make it just a little bit of occlusion. About 1.5 pounds is what our particular collar does. What theirs is, it's a little bit stronger. Either way, what it does is creates a backflow, right? So that backflow comes back up and then expands the vessels inside the skull. This creates that ability to stop the brain from doing that slosh, right? So from all these repetitive,
so the back pressure
subconcussive
keeps the
hits
brain from
sloshing around, right? So it's a little bit tighter, like a bubble wrap, if you will.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. That, when you first say that, that sounds to me like hogwash, but you guys actually have like FDA approval and studies done on it?
Absolutely. So we've done a bunch of studies, obviously.
What's worse than boogers, buttholes, and balls at SHOT Show?
There's not really anything worse than that. That's why you don't want to get shot AIDS. I'm telling you, it's the number one thing here. You're gonna hug 100 people, right? So you don't want to put everyone else's balls all over them.
Day's over with.
Whew, man, what a day. My knees are sore, but my heart is full. Got a chance to really see some cool stuff with some cool people. I hope you enjoy getting to come along for the ride with us. Man, I love my job. I just love getting to see cool stuff like this, meet cool people, hang out with my besties here, hang out with the best folks in the world, and talk to you guys about cool products. That's fun. See you tomorrow.